But here we go. We have found ourselves in another best of 3 series, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon KZ Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. The two best Zerg players in South Korea. They have faced off many times over the past couple of weeks, and now they face off again. They face off once again. I believe the last time they did play was maybe in the KSL. Let me just double check that actually. It was within the last week. But we cast so much StarCraft, it all blends together. It's like, what was KSL? What was KFC? What was ESL Asia? It all blends together, Papi. But as I quickly double check, okay, Solar did face off against Dark in ESL Open Cup Asia, and Dark did bring him down 2-0, so it was a pretty strong showing there from Dark. And it looks like historically Dark has had the better. Oh, I say historically. In the most recent best of 3, Dark did come out on top 2-0, but just before that, Solar did take down Dark 2-1 instead, so pretty close between the two of them. But we'll see how things will differ. So far, mirrored builds, hatch gas pool from both of our players. Dark does have slightly faster gas here, but only slightly. Shouldn't be the biggest deal here, as he's going to have a slight advantage with link speed, but only for a couple of seconds. Only for a couple, as yeah, we are going to be getting into this. Typically between Dark and Solar, we don't really get too many aggressive openers like a 12 pool or a 13-12 or a 14-14. Usually the openers themselves are quite standard. It's off of the openers where things get a little bit crazy. Once we start working towards our third bases, suddenly one of our players cuts workers, suddenly one of our players makes nothing but Ling Bane or sneaks out an Evo chamber for +1 melee. It's where kind of things get a little bit wild. Till then, third base on the way for everyone, for both Dark and Solar. Going to be droning to our heart's content as well. Momentarily, we should be seeing some Bailey Nest thrown down. And there we go, we do have a Bailey Nest for Dark and for Solar as well. So no one is cutting any corners, no one is racing into Roach production. No, not yet at least, not yet. We have a gentleman's agreement. No one's rushing Lings until we get 3 bases. Oh, okay. And you can see here, this is when Ling production is commencing. At least for Solar, is going to be looking to apply some pressure across the map. Likewise, Dark is going to be reciprocating with that. And we will be getting into our Ling Bane wars. Their Banelings are on the way. And when it does come down to this, it's going to be all about basically positioning, control. Arm moving out. We see Solar is the first player to throw down his tech. Roach Warden hidden behind the natural base. And as a result, I think he's going to go for +1 carapace. We'll see if this is going to lead in towards the Roach Ling push that was very popular a couple of months ago. It kind of fell off recently just because we saw so much of it. But we'll see. Meanwhile, across the map, Dark is going to be racing into Lair instead. So Solar's going to have a faster Evo chamber with faster upgrades. We do see Dark with a faster Lair for faster Roach speed. As both players are kind of backing off each other, we do see +1 range commencing for Dark. Ooh, Solar cancels his zone because he's not droning. So Solar's going for an all-in. He's going for a Ling Bane Roach all-in, no upgrades. +1 range was revealed to Dark because of his scouting Ling, but it was cancelled immediately, and now Solar is sending everything across the map. Dark has no idea until now. He does spot those roaches. And Dark has he's been droning up a little bit too much. He even takes the gases at his third base. He's been so greedy. Spine crawlers are on the way at the natural. third base is going to be forfeit. Dark trying to pick off whatever banelings he can, but Solar is sending everything across the map. He's done such a great job at hiding this. Oh, and Dark is just not ready. Even in killing the third base, that's going to be so much damage done. And yeah, Solar, he's content to leave the natural alone and go for the third. Decent baneling connection from Dark. Yeah, for the most part, he is stuck now on 2 bases. Yeah, the third will go down. Solar, he just rotates back around and he'll just race back home. He's happy with his run by. And I love this from Dark. Dark, because of the much faster lair, we're going into a Spire. This is a way to come back in this game, is a way to make use of what tech we have. These mutas will give Dark map control and maybe even do some economic damage across the map, which he needs to do. Like, the drone counts are even right now, but Solar is actually mining from his third base. Dark, long distance mining instead. Okay, the spines are being brought forward. +2 range on the way. So because of +2 range, it looks like Dark, he's only going to make enough mutas to one-shot workers. Like, we're talking 5 to 6 mutas and that's it. Just for map control. Behind it, we're still going to be committing into a roach-based army. And Solar should be relatively passive until roach speed kicks in. He's just banking up and building up that roach army in the meantime. The mutas may trigger Solar to just counterattack immediately. We'll see how Solar responds to the mutas once they are revealed. Solar is diving into the main base with the Overseer. Doesn't see anything yet. Doesn't even see the gases. So there we go. He's moving out with his army. Does confirm that Spire. The mutas are now out. And Solar is already halfway across the map. Mutas are going to help. They're definitely going to help. Yo, we got spines, we have queens, we have the defensive concave as well. Dark may be down in supply, but he may be able to take the fight. It's going to be a close one. We see the left flank is crumbling to Solar. But these mutas are putting in a lot of work. Yeah, the mutas, the queens as well. Dark, despite being down, he was down like 30 army supply. He is fighting back. A couple of reinforcements are trickling on in. And somehow, some way, Dark holds. With the power of the defensive spines, the queens, Dark, he holds on for dear life. He has the map control. He cleans up these overlords. He won't be able to do any economic damage, but killing all these overlords is well worth it for Dark. And now Dark has a pretty big advantage. +2 just kicked in. We have +1 carapace behind it. Solar is trying to transition into Hydras, which is good against mutas, but again, we're not really committed into mutas. Like, Dark for the most part is focusing on Roach Ravager. There we go. Hydras are forced out from Solar. The mutas looking for some more damage. They get a couple of tumors here and there. Respect the Hydras. And now that the Hydras have been revealed, I think Dark, he knows that he has a window where he can push out with 2-1 and potentially end the game. Like, Hydras are really not what you want in a kind of Roach versus Roach scenario. They have high DPS, but yeah, they kind of chip away at Roaches more than anything. We'll see how this does unfold. The mutas finding even more damage. Behind this, Dark, he's content to cut workers at 61. He has another base on the way, sure, but Dark is just amassing a massive Roach Ravager army. And Dark's army composition is just going to be better than that of Solar's. Not just that, but the upgrades are kicking in. Here we go. Solar trying to push his way through. Does spot at least the main army of Dark. The meters are still active, still just trying to pick off whatever they can. Getting roaches here and there, drones, overlords. Dark now maxed out, rushing across the map. Solo's going to try and get into lurkers, which is good, but it's a little bit too late. Lurkers would have been amazing in this position, to be honest. If only Solo had gone there a little bit faster. For the time being, is going to be trading here with the army. Solo, he wants to try to catch the Roach Ravager from behind. But really, Solo, he's just going to bleed out more units. Fourth base does get cancelled. And again, these piles are doing so well for Dark. He just pushes his way forward. You see Solo with a bit of a better concave, though. Dark has to be careful not to overextend. Oh, God. Dark is going to take some biles to the face, but it may be worth it in the end. The Muta's catching more reinforcements. It's too much. GG gets called, and Dark takes game number 1. Oh, GG. It was a long one, though. GG. Yeah, for those wondering, Roach Hydra isn't really a thing in ZvZ. I think in Heart of the Swarm it used to be more of a viable composition, but in ZvZ, Roach Ravager, just because of Ravagers and how they interact with the opposing army with biles, whether they connect or whether they just force more micro out of their opponent. Ravagers are just kind of so good in that situation. And they have the added range as well, and with that, Dark does fight back in game 1. That was very close, though. Again, Dark was on the edge of defeat with Solar's kind of hidden all-in, where he was able to hide that Roach Warren, kind of deceive Dark with the fake upgrade as well. Dark was in a lot of trouble, but the meters, they put in some work. Damn. And here we go, we're getting into game 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. Boy, here we go. In game 1, Solar was the aggressor. Solar, he was the one who was trying to catch Dark off guard, and he did do some damage. If you remember, he killed the third base. He was trading well against what little army that Dark had, but Solar didn't force the issue. He didn't try to force his way into the natural. He was content to just kill a hatchery and back up, and as a result, Dark was able to get away with his fast lair. It was very fortunate that Dark had opted to go for a fast lair timing of all things against Solar's kind of hidden build, and it did work out so well for him, giving him access to that faster spire to get into mutas, to get map control, and to force a big fight out of Solar, a fight that did go Dark's way. But now we're in game 2. We are in game number 2. We shake it off. Do shake it off, and we'll see how our players do respond here instead. I imagine the turns are going to table. I imagine Dark is going to be the aggressor this time. Especially now that he has a lead in the series, it would make sense. But we'll see. We shall see. Until then, I don't think we have too many other updates going on. Oh no, we do actually. Oh boy. We'll get into them a little bit later. after this game. As a reminder, though, this series is a quarterfinals match. The winner of this moves on to the semi-finals. So we're actually already almost at the end of the broadcast, it seems. Kind of. I do think that would be the case if Hero versus Bjorn wasn't held up, right? Like, because Hero and Bjorn have been waiting. They've been waiting for like 30 minutes. they've been waiting for a long time to start their match. So because of that, the lower half of the bracket is going to be slowed down, and that means that we may have additional matches. means the night is still young. And we still have more StarCraft to cast. Oh, let's go. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. As until then, both players, we just have a hatch gas pool. We're getting to our third base. Bailing nest on time as well. Nothing too crazy. Pretty standard stuff in the ZvZ. Dark gonna try and go for a bit of a scout, but the queens are in position and they will fend Dark off. They will force him back. Well, at least until link speed kicks in, and now he's gonna try to break into the main base, but no, he is gonna be denied once again. Evo chamber on the way, defensive bailings as well for Dark. And no one is flinching. No one is really showing too many signs of aggression at all. We're just kind of chilling and droning. We are content for now. Oh. Solar once again tries to dip in. We see Dark transitioning, going for his Evo chamber and his Roach Warren. But Solar, he's going for something a little bit more old school. We saw this a lot at the start of the year. It's going to be +1 carapace, so it's going to be a pretty heavy Ling Bane Roach push from Solar. The +1 carapace will give him a bit of an advantage, a tankier army overall. More importantly, it protects his Lings from the defensive Banelings of Dark. Without +1 carapace, Baneling will one-shot a Ling. With +1 carapace, 2 shots. Or you do need 2 Banelings to kill a Ling. But yeah, the dynamic is going to change quite a bit here as Solar, he's cutting workers. Lings and Roaches. That's all we need, Papi. That is all we need. Oh boy. So a very different kind of quote-unquote all-in, but one nonetheless. Again, very committed here. We've been cutting workers at 44. Solar's going to be sending whatever he can across the map. We do have Dark actually going to be meeting the army. But we don't have any Roaches yet. Uh-oh. I am a little bit concerned. The Lings are trying to get that Queen. Banelings roll on forward as well, but they don't quite find any connections. And the Roaches have been spotted. Oh, meanwhile, the Lings of Solar, they dive into the main base. 11 drones go down and counting. Dark. His attention was across the map, not back at home. This is game-ending damage on its own, let alone the fact that Solar is going for a massive Roach push, and Dark was just not ready for this. He does have Roaches on the way now, but after losing 12 workers, like he's going to be on the back foot. Solar just waiting for his next wave of Banelings, and again, that means that these Lings of Dark are going to be zoned away. They can't really engage. Oof. And there we go, the Banelings, they do find their connections. Lings are going to be going down. The Roaches of Solar are breaking on through. Dark trying desperately to hold on, but he's losing more drones. Drones that we just cannot afford to lose. That third base has to be given up. And with these reinforcements, it looks like Solar has broken the defenses of Dark. GG gets called, and we're going to the ace match. GG. Oh, Dark just a little bit too inattentive back at home. Wasn't quite able to, or with that, he didn't really have the best economy to try and muster up a defense, and a very haphazard defense. It was just a very reactive defense from Dark. Solar showed up with all of his Roaches, and yeah, Dark just had very little time to respond. GG. GG. And we have ourselves an ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Meanwhile, I do have confirmation. Beyond vs. Hero has begun over on the Chinese stream. They do have you covered there. I believe they've begun, unless they followed the quarterfinals match. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. But here we go. Spawning at the top right hand corner, we have a South Korean Zerg player dropping a game in this series, and now up against the wall representing DragonKy Gaming, it is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Altitude, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. Here we go. Now we're on Altitude, the largest map in the map pool. ZvZs on this map can be a little bit weird as a result. As you can imagine, mutaplay is very popular. Mutaplay can work very well on Altitude because you have so much room to maneuver around. You can dip in between the bases, abuse so many mineral lines. Mutas, they can work quite well here. But because of that, you can also anticipate and maybe even punish that as well. That's where a little bit of metagaming can come into play. Until then, hatch gas pool, standard stuff. Once again. And so far this series, every game so far, it's been Solar. It's been Solar to be the aggressor. Game 1, he went for just a vanilla Ling Roach all-in of his own off of 3 bases. Likewise, Game 2, off of 44 drones, he went for a +1 carapace Ling Roach, or Ling Bane Roach all-in as well. And yeah, Solar, he's been finding a lot of success with it. Even Game 1, the game that Solar lost, like, Solar still did a lot of damage. Remember, he did kill the 3rd base. Dark was woefully unprepared. He had to give it up. You can make an argument that in that game, if Solar hadn't gone for the 3rd, if he had just gone straight for the natural, if you remember, the spines were barely halfway done when Solar was across the map. So it's possible that he could have even broken the natural and taken the game then and there as well. So, yeah, Dark has been having a really hard time keeping an eye on what Solar's been up to. Like, time and time again, he's just been getting caught a bit off guard. But we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this does unfold in the ace match, because it all just comes down to this one final game. 3rd base is on time. No one is going for any kind of 2-base shenanigans. Thank God. Lings on the way. We might eye on Dark. Actually made an extra wave of Lings as well. Baneliness is turned down, but there we go. We're going back into droning. Back into that drone production. Both players have expanded on the same side as well, which could mean that, you know, if we get aggression, then it's going to be very intense. And there it is. I did notice that Dark was making a couple of extra Lings earlier, and he is making nothing but Lings at this point. Dark, he's had enough. He's like, just leave me alone. How dare you just try to be all up in my face? You know who I am? I'm Dark, mate. Let's go. Nothing but Lings flooding across the map. Baneliness is about to finish up as well. Solar is going to have defensive Banelings of his own, but it will all come down to the control, come down to the micro. Here we go. Dark, he is angry. He's upset. Lings already going to be chipping away at the hatchery itself. We do see the Banelings are being morphed in. They will not be found out. They roll in from behind. Banelings headed towards the natural as we speak. Ooh. Banelings going off from both players. And Dark, he only makes it into the natural base with 1 Baneling. Doesn't get the best connection. And Solar will hold. Does force Dark back. Does have the Baneling advantage as well as the Lings as well. He's going for a massive counterattack. Dark trying to muster up a defense back at home. He's going to be able to deal some counter damage. Gets a drone. Ooh. And Solar does take a Baneling to the face. And just like that, Dark, he's going to be in a pretty good position, but he isn't he's not droning. Dark is making another massive wave of Lings while Solar drones. Solar thinks that it's over. Dark knows that it's not. Sending Lings over towards the edges of the map. Banking up more Lings back at home. This is going to get scattered by Solar. He knows. He now knows. And immediately, 3 Banelings are on the way. We're going to need more than that. There we go. 2 more as well. Solar is aware he's in danger. He evacuates the 3rd base. I love this. Ready to give it up. Oh, 2 Banelings do go down. Not the best connections from Solar. Another Baneling gets sniped. And the Banelings of Dark are just rushing on forward. They're trying to get behind. They're trying to get up past the Queen. And it looks like they barely will. Again, not the best connections from Dark, but it may just be good enough anyway. Oh no! As the Banelings do all go off in the end, GG gets called, Solar has been broken, and Dark takes the series 2-1. GG. Dark, he's just had enough of these Roach all-ins. Nah, man, I'm not even gonna let you get to Roaches. Just pure Ling Bane. That's all it is. All we need. Solar was almost able to hold the line with that Queen, but the wall wasn't a wall. The Queen wasn't quite in position to wall off that natural, and Dark did get past. Didn't get the best connections on the drones, but was able to force a lot of chaotic micro out of Solar with his Lings. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Dark moves on to the semifinals. I was worried for him, not gonna lie. Was a little bit worried. As we now have to figure out where we want to go. Where do we want to go? Exclamation mark be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourself. Because a lot's been happening. We have a lot to catch up on. Here we go. Can we interact? We can. Okay. So, first things first. Classic 2-1 Clem. I mean, Classic has been on fire recently, and so if you have been watching Classic in the recent weeks, especially on this channel, you would know that Classic is one of the best Protoss players in the world right now, and he does take down Clem 2-1 to face off against Showtime in a PvP over on the American server. Meanwhile, Dark, of course, took down Solar, so Dark is waiting for one of these 2 Protoss players, either Showtime or Classic. Scrolling down a little bit further, we do have Beyond. They did start Beyond versus Hero. They are currently being casted by the Chinese casters, and I imagine some English casters as well. Winner of that moves on to face Max Pax in the next round. Upon seeing this, I need to head over to America. Oof. But yeah, Beyond is facing off against Hero. Winner up against Max Pax. At the very bottom of the bracket, Ragnarok 2-0 Jaishi, Spirit 2-0 Creator, and Ragnarok is currently facing Spirit in a ZvT as well in a best of 3. So we're going to be looking at either Showtime versus Classic or Spirit versus Ragnarok. That's kind of what we want.